Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Pilgrim Story Hour. My name is Mony Dojeiji, and as pilgrims, we're all here to share stories about the pilgrimage, be it the Camino or any other pilgrimage that you may have walked, that has left you with some indelible life lessons. And what I try to do every week is just pick a topic or pick a theme and tell stories around that theme. Usually, I tell a story, and I invite whoever is on the call this day to tell a story as well. And the theme that I've chosen for this week is the theme of trusting others that you don't know, trusting strangers, trusting in what you can't always see and perceive with your physical eyes. And I invite you to join on this call when you can and to share a story as well. So right now I have with me one pilgrim, and that's Alberto.
Oh, it's
And we
me.
have, hello, hi, Alberto.
Here I am. Yes, it's
Okay.
so exciting about this new experience of the hangout. Yeah,
All
looking.
right. Okay, so for those who are joining us, all you have to do is accept the invitation that I have sent you, and you'll be live on air with us. Well, I'll begin. I'll begin this particular segment speaking about an experience that I had, and I will share with you the experience from walking on our pilgrimage from Rome to Jerusalem. Now, because this pilgrimage was quite unlike the Camino in the sense that there was, nothing, no yellow arrows, there's no path, no infrastructure. Really, every day was an exercise in trust. It was an exercise in trusting that we are going to receive shelter every night and trusting that when we knocked on a door, that the person who answered was going to receive us, and trusting that when they did receive us, that it was going to be a positive experience, or at least an experience where our physical safety was never harmed. And so I would say that the entire experience, the entire journey was really one of learning to trust in others, learning to trust in ourselves,
Yep.
and learning to trust in experiences that really were quite outside our comfort zone. And for those who even walk the Camino, for many pilgrims who come from North America, the Camino is way outside their comfort zone. And I understand that. You're in a different culture, different language, different food, everything is different, and new experiences, new smells, new sights. And so I will tell you the specific story, though, that stands out in my mind. And this particular one, the story happened as we were leaving Turkey. We had been walking in Turkey for about 4 months, and we were about a year, almost a year of walking. And we were at the border town, arriving at the Syrian border. This was back in 2002, I should mention. And we don't advise any pilgrim to walk through Syria at this day, on this date, which is in 2016, June 2016, for many obvious reasons. And so we were arriving at the border, and there were like a security office, little police. We passed by a police station, and they're called the gendarme, and they told us to, wave for us to come on over and have a cup of tea. And whenever the police invite you for a cup of tea, you know that there is another motivation. And so we had become accustomed to being invited to tea and to have conversations with the police, because there was always the questions usually centered around, okay, now who are you? Why are you walking here? Who is paying you to walk in our country? Whose peace do you represent? And so, very politely, but very directly inquiring about what is our intention in their country and when do we plan to leave. And so we were all usually very forthcoming, handed over our passports, very polite with whoever asked us. And so when, in this case, the gendarme called us over, we said, okay, let's see what they have to say this time. And this time, he said to us over tea, um, just for your own safety and just for your own protection, do not tell anyone at the Syrian border that you are walking to Jerusalem. Do not tell them that you have any intention of doing anything beyond just simply walking for peace, which is what we were doing. You are walking in their country, and we are passing through Syria to get into Lebanon. Tell them that you are visiting either your family in Lebanon, which I had at that time, or tell them that you are simply unsure of where you're going to finish. You may even go walking around the world. But don't tell them that you're walking to Jerusalem, because it's very likely that they will stop you at the border and they will turn you back. Or they may do other things. We don't know. And so, of course, the fear is there right away. So immediately before I even arrived at the border, the mistrust was there. And even though throughout the pilgrimage, I had experienced and reminded myself over and over again, do not let the fears and the judgments of other people cloud your experience. There I was again after a year of walking, and somebody telling me, be careful and do not trust anyone at the Syrian border, already influenced by my experience without having talked to anyone yet. And so, of course, we arrive, we say thank you and tashakkur, we leave the Turkish border, we cross into Syrian territory, we arrive at the border, we go up to the kiosk, and immediately, they look at us. I'm afraid, and more than afraid, I'm mistrustful. I'm not trusting anything that the person behind that counter is saying to me. And so he immediately asks for our visas. Passports and visas. I have my Canadian passport. Alberto has his Spanish passport. And I show it to him, and he says to me, where's your visa? And I said to him, well, we're prepared to buy a visa at the border, which is what we had done at the border of all the other 12 countries that we had walked through. And he said, no, you have to have a prior visa before entering our country. I can't let you walk through. You need a visa. And I said, surely there must be a way for us to get a visa. And he kept insisting that there was absolutely no way to get a visa. And so part of me wanted to believe him. A part of me was struggling with trying to trust this person. And so Alberto and I did what we had practiced doing throughout this journey, which is not to aggravate any situation and to take a deep breath. So we took a deep breath. We said, thank you very much. If there is anything that you can do for us, if there is anyone that you can speak to or that we can speak to, we would be happy to facilitate or to help in any way. And by the way, I was trying to do this in Arabic, a very, very broken, very rusty Lebanese that, I grew up in a Lebanese household. I am Lebanese. So I was trying to bring back all the words, and it was, very, very difficult. And he was firing speaking very quickly at me. And so we're trying to stay calm and remain trusting that he's doing the right thing for us, trusting that this whole situation is going to unfold in a positive way, and trusting that we are going to be able to continue our journey moving forward. And so we waited. He said, okay, and just kind of waved us off. And so here we were. We just sat on some chairs, very rigid plastic chairs that didn't move right or left, bolted to the ground. We sat down and we waited. We waited and we waited, and people came in and out. People flowed all day, and we just sat and waited. We also didn't have any food with us because we had expected that, at least there could be something at the border, like a vending machine, but there was no vending machine. And so we just sat on the bench and waited. We walked outside, we strolled, and every once in a while, the guy would look over at us with that kind of suspicious look, and we would just, say hello. And about 4 hours later, one of them comes over to us and says, asked me, are you hungry? And we said to him, yes, we are. And he just said, okay, wait a minute. And so
there was no place to buy anything there.
No, exactly. There was no vending machines. There was no place, nothing. And so we waited for him, and then he came back a few moments later and motioned for us to follow him. And so he took us behind the counter to a room that was there. And I was expecting like maybe some water or maybe some fruit or something. But what he had laid out for us was actually a small feast by Arab standards. It was, there was it's a pressed yogurt called lebne. There was cheese, there were tomatoes, there was olives, there was bread, and cucumbers, I think, were there. And I just looked at him and I said, thank you so much. And he kind of, he gave me like a smile. And I said to him, this is Alberto's first experience in the Arab world. And I just want you to know how grateful I am that he is seeing this face of the Arab world, which I know is the true face and the true heart of the Arab culture. And he just, I want to say he was blushing, but I couldn't tell. And so he left us and he said, ahla wa sahla, which is, welcome and enjoy your meal. And so we ate, and we finished eating, and we thanked him, and then we went back to sit on the benches. And more officers kept coming, and more, they kept looking at us. And now it was, they were waving at us, and how are you? We said, very well, thank you. And the tone became with them a little bit more uh, jovial, a little bit easier, more relaxed. They said to us, we're trying our best now to get you at least a 3-day visa, so that if you can't walk through our country, at least you can take a bus through our country. And I said, okay, well, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And then he said to me, well, there is a 15-day visa that you can get, but that is almost impossible to get. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, well, I'm going to try. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but we're going to try for the 3-day visa and for a 15-day visa, and we'll see what happens. And I said, well, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now, we never once said we were going to Jerusalem. I still kind of held back, not wanting to fully reveal where we were going. Because when he said, where are you going? We said, we're walking for peace. We've been walking, now for a year from Rome, and we believe in peace in the world. And I think he was just kind of rolling his eyes at us. And he said, where are you ending? I said, well, we're not sure, because I do have some family in Lebanon, and it's been a long journey. So maybe we'll stop in Lebanon. But I think in the unspoken words, he knew exactly where we were going. Now, we continued to wait. The evening came by. More and more officers came by. And everyone became a little bit more polite, a little bit more relaxed. We weren't pressing. We weren't pushing. Anything that they said to us, we said, thank you. We appreciate your efforts. By the evening, one of the most senior people there showed up, and he was dressed in more more military, formal dress. And it was, I think, around 9 o'clock at night by then. There was no visa. We had been there since, noonish. And he invited us to tea. Now, when the senior people invite you to tea, you know that this is one of two things. Either they're going to be drilled a little bit more politely, or it's going to be an invitation to actually sit and have a conversation. And it turned out to be the latter, because as we spoke calmly and explained our intentions and very honestly said, we are simply walking as two pilgrims who really believe that change in the world begins with change within, and we believe that all paths lead to one God, and that we are all brothers and sisters on this journey towards understanding what the meaning of God and love and life is. As we spoke more in those terms, we were able to find common ground. We weren't talking politics. I don't know the politics of Syria. I know a little bit, but I wasn't going to talk about that. What I really wanted to do was connect with him as a human being, and connect and begin to build that bridge so that he could trust us, and in turn, perhaps I could also trust him. And of course, eventually the conversation, they were very open, and they were very respectful. And we stayed there for over an hour, I would say, speaking. And even though we never said the words, we are going to Jerusalem, because I couldn't fully bring myself to fully trust, with enough clues and hints and ways of speaking, and just by the look, by the way he was looking at us, and by the way we were looking at him, I think in the unspoken language, which sometimes is even more powerful than the word, he understood exactly where we were going. But he never asked us so that we wouldn't have to answer. And I really felt that from him. He didn't need to know, and he didn't need to stop us. And what was funny was, by the end of the night, by the time it was like 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, and he said, okay, well, you have to get to sleep. Where are you going to sleep? I said, wherever. I said, well, we'll sleep here on the floor. We have our sleeping bags. He just said, wait a minute. And then he talked to some people, and we waited again on the chairs. And a couple of minutes later, they called us in. And they had, in that same room where we had something to eat, they had laid out for us 2 foam mattresses and a couple of military blankets. And I was just so overwhelmed and so thankful to him. And I thanked him once again, saying to him, this is the heart of the Arab world that I know, this heart of hospitality and generosity and looking after the stranger, even though you may not know them. And even though there may be a little bit of mistrust, there is still the openness and the hospitality. and the generosity of spirit and generosity of heart. So thank you very much. And he shook our hands, and he was very, he was very, I felt on him also very grateful.
And
And I could,
all the soldiers there, they
all
were
this,
at the end of the
yes,
day, they were all in love with us, I will say.
yes,
So,
they were just so incredibly
then,
welcoming and so incredibly happy to have had us there. And then I remember the final thing, I heard him yelling out at the front saying, "Hey, would you get on those visas for those people? They need to be out of here in the morning."
yeah.
And I remember that being the last words kind of before I fell asleep that night. And although the next day we got up and we had our visa, we had 3-day visas. He said to us, he goes, you can get a 15-day visa. He goes, take this and go to a specific office. He gave us the address. He said, go speak to this specific person and tell him that I sent you. And he gave me his name. And he said, tell him that you need a 15-day visa and that I said you can get it for him. And at that time, a bus driver walked in. He called the bus driver and said to him, take these people on your way, drop them off at this location, and tell them how to get to that building. And that's how the whole thing unfolded. It was the most amazing, unbelievable experience that reminded me, and I know that reminded Alberto, that when you stay calm, when you stay centered, when you can speak from the heart and connect from the heart, even with a complete stranger in a situation that can feel a little bit maybe hostile and a little bit uncomfortable, you can unfold and unlock possibilities that you never even knew could happen. So now that's my story that I'm sharing with you. Alberto, do you have a story you want to tell? And while you're doing that, I'm
Well,
going to see that there's other viewers that are joining us.
yeah. Well, I will add to what you had say. I have many stories about trust in strangers, because I think our journey and the journey of life in general is about trust. So that is a pillar. It's a fundamental base of the journey, to trust in life, trust in yourself, that you are going to be capable of to overcome anything that can to you along the journey, and for that reason to trust in others too. That this doesn't mean that you are precautious, that doesn't mean that you are going to believe everything, or to, you need to pay attention, but to trust too that what move other people is the same that move to you, that we are brothers and sisters trying to do the best that we can with what we know. Then to trust in that, no, in the purity of the heart of people, and that you will find people that maybe are not so pure in their actions, but then you will trust in yourself that you will know how to handle the situations,
Yeah.
and to trust in life, that life itself is something that is for our for our better good, in some way to say, no.
Yeah.
Then I think was very special. The episode that you had shared is very special, because was one more proof that how you say is that if you trust, if you open yourself to trust, to know the other, and to see what there is there, and to try to see the best in the situation and in the people, the majority of times, but it's not all, you are going to find it. You're going to find, and we found in these people, and we saw how things that were almost impossible to believe that were going to fulfill, or there were going to be solution, no, like the thing of the 3 days visa, that they are
Right.
going. We were not going to find a 15-day visa. They told us, and finally we went to this place. Even the guy that was recommended to us to visit, he said, it's very difficult to get it's impossible, that you get a 15 days visa. But after we wait for the solution, and we wait for the administration to work, and we did, we get it. Even the guy that was there to get the visa, when we went to people to get it, he said, I don't know how you have to get this.
It's true.
How you get a 15-day visa, that cannot be renovated, can be,
Right.
was some kind of mistake, but we did it, and life worked many times in that way. Yeah. Hey,
Wonderful.
I
That's
think
great.
that we
Thank you for
have a
adding
new.
to that. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
see that we have Jacqueline here with us. Hello, Jacqueline.
Hello, Jacqueline. Hey, welcome back.
I did it. Well, thanks for joining us. Now I know that you are a pilgrim to be. Is
Oh,
that right?
and we had another. We had Camino
In,
provides with us.
Yes.
indeed.
Yes, so Jacqueline, so I know you don't have a story yet, but maybe I'll come back to you at the end of this and see if you have just a general story, even on this pilgrimage called life, that you can share. How's that? Okay, I want to
That
welcome
sounds
Lori
great.
Ferris as well from the Camino Provides. Lori, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lori.
Hello, Lori.
Can you hear us okay? Oh, we've got you on mute for some reason. Hang on, let me unmute you. I'm not sure why you're on. Oh, I think you are the
Yeah,
one who
yeah.
muted
You are
us.
the one that had the mute
Oh,
now.
Okay, there we go. I can hear you now.
No, we cannot hear you.
Okay, try pressing the mute button again.
Yeah. Try to press the mute.
Okay.
Now.
Okay, now,
Can you
gotcha.
hear me?
Yes,
Now
we can
we
see
hear
you
you.
and hear you.
Okay.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Moni.
It's nice to see you.
You too.
Thank you. Well, Lori, I think you heard part of the story that we were that Alberto and I were sharing about trust and learning to trust in complete strangers, trusting in the unknown, trusting in what you always can't see and touch. And if there's a story or an experience that you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear it.
Well, actually, I do have a story.
Yes?
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I just came back from the Camino Portuguese about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, welcome
And
back.
thank you. I had a wonderful time. This was a short Camino for me. I only had about 7 days to walk. And so I started my Camino in Ponta de Lima, and I was in Lisbon. So I had to take a 3-hour train ride from Lisbon to Braga, then a 1-hour bus ride from Braga to Ponta de Lima.
Okay.
And the bus had the destination of Ponta de Lima as the final destination. And so I thought, okay, I'll just get off at the last stop. But I didn't know I should have gotten off at the second to the last stop. The last person on the bus before I got off of there, and I just was with the bus driver in this big bus by myself. And he went back up the hill a couple of miles to this bus terminal. And I went and I asked him, I said, I'm going to the albergue on the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
And he said, oh, and he shook his head and he didn't speak much English. And he said, you should have gotten off at the other bus stop. So he said, hold on, 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I don't speak much Portuguese. I know like 3 words.
Okay.
And he doesn't speak much English, but he said, I'll take you in my car to the bridge.
Wow.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's nice.
And I
That's
thought,
great.
that's really nice. I'll take him up on that offer. But then I started panicking. I was waiting for this guy to, unload his bus and wrap up his business for the day. But he seemed nice, and he saw that I was a pilgrim. And so I went and I took a leap of faith. I got in this guy's car, a total stranger, and I asked him where he lived, and he said, here in Ponta de Lima. And I saw his rosary hanging from his rearview mirror, and I thought, I'm okay, I'll be okay. He's not going to kidnap me. I had some fears, getting in a stranger's car, but of course he brought me right to the bridge, and I walked across the bridge, and I went to my albergue, but I had to have a little bit of trust in that situation. I probably would have walked, but it was getting dark and it was starting to rain.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 3 words I know, one of them is key to know in any language is thank you. Obrigado. So if you know thank you in every language, I think that will get you far.
Yeah. What a great story. And I
That's
think
great.
you probably touched on the greatest fear of any pilgrim walking alone, and I would say especially of any woman walking alone, is, what's going to happen to you? What could happen to you if you, and they all tell you, everyone tells you, Don't go in the car with a stranger. Don't accept whatever from strangers. And we were raised with this whole idea of being afraid and not trusting the intentions of others around us. And the Camino does something unusual, and I don't know what it is. And there is a certain kind of willingness to open up a little bit more and to trust a little bit more. You never leave, I think, you don't ever leave like reason and logic aside, but there is a certain willingness to open a little bit more when you're walking as a pilgrim. Yeah.
I think that was very symbolic to, you know, I love symbolism, and I think symbolism is not only in dreams, it's in life too. It's symbolic too that he brought you to a bridge, you know, and you cross the bridge after that, you know, then it's, I think it's beautiful too.
Yeah, I thought of that too, that he brought you to that bridge, because as like Alberto, I was thinking, ooh, very symbolic, crossing a bridge. It's like crossing over to
a new shore.
Exactly, to a new shore, new ideas, new everything. That's great. Thanks, Lori.
Yeah.
Great story. Good story. And I think, is Jacqueline still here? Let's see, Jacqueline?
Yes, she is still here.
Oh, we just
Hi,
have
Jacqueline.
we have your voice. Hey, Jacqueline. Now I know that you're a pilgrim to be, and so I know you don't have a pilgrim story yet, but as I say, we are all pilgrims in life.
In life,
so if there is a story that you want to tell us about, you know, a specific story, and actually, you know what? Before I get to you, I want to go back to you, Lori, for a second. Lori, what was the lesson that you learned? What lesson did you learn in trusting this stranger and getting into their car? What did you learn about yourself, and what did you learn about this world in which you live?
I learned to trust my instinct, because my first vibe about this man is I can trust him.
Yeah.
But then I also went back to my fears of not trusting strangers and not getting into somebody's car. So it was, I had to overcome that fear that was instilled in me through my culture. And, you know, I don't know if I would get in a stranger's car in America.
Funny.
I felt very safe in Portugal, walking alone.
Funny. That's great. Trusting your intuition, that's a huge lesson. Huge thing. Okay, great. Now, Jacqueline, back to you.
Yes, back to me.
Back to you. All right. So the technology seems to be working in your favor right now.
Yeah.
As I continue to wander around aimlessly. Yes, it is.
I can see you perfectly.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So is there a story that you'd like that you have about trusting, when you were in a situation that you had to trust someone a stranger, or in a situation where you had to just trust the unknown?
Well, but isn't that life, trusting the unknown?
Good point.
I get to say, walking through, particularly when I was a single mom, I needed to make sure that not only did I take care of my daughter, but I needed to take care of me. And I love traveling. So I thought, she's 2, and I'm going to head over to Vancouver. My cousin was living in Vancouver. And I thought, we'll visit. Won't that be fantastic? And so I didn't have much in the way of extra cash. So it was exactly how I've got this much to get on the bus after we get off the plane to get to the space that I'm supposed to see her.
Yes.
And so we get off the plane. Interesting ride. This is the first time my daughter's taking the flight. And so, with ears and babies, and you're not sure how it's all going to roll out, and you'd rather not have them scream loudly.
Yeah.
And they did. Anyway, so destination.
You're breaking up, Jackie. You're breaking up, Jacqueline.
Oops.
Yeah, this sound. I don't know if you are maybe covering the microphone.
If you have a microphone, to hold it up close to your ear if you can.
Or simply don't cover with the...
I'm going to unplug it. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
I think now sounds better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that sounds better, but I'm seeing your cheek. It's lovely. Okay.
Yeah, continue with the story.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Because here...
I'm seeing you perfectly.
Oh, really?
There you are. I'm seeing my computer. Okay.
You said technology was working for me. I don't know. Anyway, so we got off the plane. My cousin who was supposed to meet us didn't know where we were going to be. So we took the bus and we're waiting in the bus station. I know no one. We're in Victoria now. So we landed in Vancouver, took a boat to Victoria, which was absolutely stunning. But I really have no idea where I'm going, and I've got my daughter with me, and I don't have a lot of cash, I think I said. And so there we were, and I realized I have enough cash to buy popsicles. And so just trying to figure this one out. So we waited and we wandered and we waited and we wandered, and so now the light is dimming, it's getting darker, and I have no idea where I'm supposed to be. So I had to trust a phone call and say, I'm not sure if I should be speaking with you. I think this is the phone number, but my name is Jacqueline Richards, and I have my daughter here, and I'm wondering where my cousin is. Hold on, what's her last name? Is her last name? Let me see if I can find her. I wound up calling her work, for which she works as a personal trainer. So it's interesting trying to find your personal trainer in a health club, and she's supposed to be picking you and your 2-year-old up at the bus station. All that said, I had to trust that the guy was going to find her, and thankfully he did. And she did I thought you were coming tomorrow.
Oops. No.
Good. So I'll keep wondering. I had to be okay that my daughter was safe. I had to be okay. And it's Victoria, BC. That's stunning. And I should know that I'm going to be okay. But I have to say, I'm with my 2-year-old and wondering, now what's mommy going to do?
Right.
I had to be okay and believe that we were going to be okay.
Yeah. But I think sometimes the people put a lot of fear, and the media and the news. But really, if we think with logic, with the experience that we have, the people that we know personally is good people. It's people like us. I think the majority of people in the world is nice and try to do good, and try to help in the way that they can, Then in a situation like that you really need help, why is you are going to find a freaky or somebody, you logically, I'm talking now about the statistics and about to think logic and not only to trust in the, I think it's the majority of people, and it's that experience that we have, it's good. So people that is not going to rob you, is going to try to harm you. It's simple people that see somebody in need, and but is going to offer hand, But in that moment we feel the fear. I think that is the great obstacle is fear, and we remember all the bad things, and we remember the news in the morning, and we remember, and that is that we need to overcome. I think the known that is another fear, and unknown maybe are very vinculated,
Connected. Yes, exactly.
Connected.
So true, and it's absolutely true. Canadian woman and 2-year-old disappears. Great. No, I didn't want to be I didn't want to be front page center on a newspaper saying, where are they? And that wasn't the case. As you say, Alberto, I just needed to be calm because, kids pick that up, right? Kids pick up the fear.
Absolutely, and so do adults, by the way. And I think we project that more than we know. It's funny, when Alberto was speaking, one of the thoughts that came into my mind was when one of the things that I started to do was to say to myself, now, if situations were reversed and this other person were coming to me for help, would I help them or not? And when I saw myself as, I'm just an ordinary person, and I'm more likely than not to lend a helping hand, then why would that other person not be the same way?
Yeah.
Why do I not see them in that way as well? And I think it's because culturally, in many parts of the world, we are raised to believe that, you just don't trust another person. But truly, even in those places, when you need help and you genuinely reach out, and this was our experience, as Alberto said, you will receive help. people, I think, in kind of in their depths, are individuals who want to help another. We're not individuals who want to do harm to each other. That's my personal opinion. So yeah,
Me too.
that's
Totally. Yeah.
exactly. Did you want to say something as well, Lori? I'll leave it to you here.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this was a very interesting conversation because it touches on, you know, trust is not something that sometimes we easily give away. And, you know, we want to be trusting, but a lot of times we have all the baggage that says to us that, you know, don't trust. And it takes great courage to walk in the world believing that the other is good, that human beings by nature are actually good. That doesn't mean they always do the right thing, perhaps.
Yep.
But that intrinsically we are good, and that reaching out and making a connection, a heart connection with another, is the bridge, Lori, that we need to help us get to the other side. So I'm respectful of everyone's time. So if there is no one else here who wants to say anything, I will give this a wrap and invite you again to join next week, where we'll choose another topic and another set of stories that we'll share. Any final thoughts or any final words from anybody?
Thank you guys for hosting this.
I had a good time.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, to share your stories too. It was nice.
Exactly. Thank you all for sharing your stories, and we'll catch you next week on the Pilgrim Story Hour. Bye for now.
Obrigado.
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 I shall learn.